Thank you so much for staying with Newzroom Afrika. Now, following the announcement of the under-23 men's wheelchair basketball team, the national side has convened for an incoming preparation series currently underway in Johannesburg. The junior Amawheela Boys are participating in the inaugural Live the Impossible series at the Mandeville Sports Club and have invited Kuwait as opponents for the 5-day tournament. Newzroom Afrika sports reporter Vuyo Macoba is there attending the final day of the competition. Vuyo, day 5, what are the coaches saying? Have they gotten what they were looking for? All right, we clearly have some technical difficulties there with Vuyo. We'll try and re-establish that connection with him there at the Mandeville Sports Club here in Johannesburg. In the meantime, the world's first hydrogen race series, Extreme Age, unveiled its new car on Thursday with a fresh focus on green technology and a shift away from racing in remote locations to raise awareness for climate change. The Pioneer 25 SUV uses a 75 kilowatt hydrogen fuel cell as the principal energy source, with a car capable of accelerating from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 4.5 seconds and scale gradients of up to 130%. Founder Alejandro Agag explains how the switch to green hydrogen has produced by splitting water through electrolysis using renewable energy meant a new mission in racing cars.
The reason why we create a championship like Extreme Age, a hydrogen championship, is really to create a platform where we can develop technologies around this amazing fuel, amazing opportunity that represents hydrogen to decarbonize massive areas of the economy. Not only racing. Racing is going to be at the heart, but this platform is wider than racing. It's looking at developing technology around hydrogen for many, many different uses, especially green hydrogen that can really make a difference when we speak about global warming.
All right, we are going to try again. Our reporter Vuyo Macoba, who's at the Mandeville Sports Club in Johannesburg for that 5-day wheelchair basketball tournament. Vuyo, I'm hoping that we're okay now in terms of the technical issues we had. What is the coach thinking? Has he found what he was looking for after 5 days of competition?
Good afternoon to you, Benjamin, and of course to the Newzroom Afrika viewers. The sense that we're getting from the coaches is that they're getting the type of players, I guess, that they would have picked earlier on in the year to form this under-23 side. If you remember, just a few months ago, I think in May, they listed the players that would join the under-23 setup. And now this group, for the first time, is coming together, especially in a competitive space, to try and get together as a team. I guess even for the coaches to mold them as players as they build up to the Africa qualifiers that are going to be coming up in January. So this is more of a development space that these athletes then are getting at this point with the coaches that are sort of leading them in this. And what they've done in this 5-day tournament, they brought in Kuwait sort of to enlarge the type of competition that these players need to get. And I guess even from the coaches' side, that's one of the things that they've put out as a positive thing, to say that if you want to be marked as one of the best teams in the world, you have to compete against the best teams in the world. So from the series starting on Monday and this being the final day, it's been all positive stuff. And I mean, Coach Pamandla Kunvi joins me now to reflect further on that. Coach Pamandla, as I'm just mentioning now to our viewers at Newzroom Afrika, that just this week has been one of the positive things, I guess, even for wheelchair basketball, South Africa would have needed to have a competitive space for the young players, and especially against a very competitive team.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are grateful. We are very, very happy with the opportunities and the exposure that we're giving to our youngsters. And having received Kuwait on our shows, they actually give us an opportunity as coaches to see what we have and see what we can work on with our youngsters. And I'm talking about, we have pretty much about maybe 7 to 8 youngsters that are pretty new at this level of play. So we have identified quite a number of things that we really and truly need to work on. The more game exposure, the more competitive games that we need for these youngsters, the better it is for us, and the better it is for the players, and obviously for Wheelchair Basketball South Africa. So we are very happy with what we have achieved thus far. And we're hoping for the better.
Yeah.
You know, comes January, surely there will be more of, you know, a lot of improvement and certain elements and certain areas of the game that we're working on with the youngsters, especially technical abilities and chess skills, especially comes to agilities, come to ball handling, and also their shooting. You know, so we're working a lot on that one.
Yeah, I like the fact that you've also got the senior players that are around the space that are
Correct.
getting the opportunity to also play against, you know, the younger players. I guess feeding them that knowledge, but also showing them what it means to play for a national setup at a high level, for them having been in that space. How good is that, having the senior team also being around to be able to actually feed to the young players?
Man, I just want to mention especially guys like Hussein, you know, has been playing for many years.
Yep.
Having seen him being around these youngsters on and off court, having to advise them as to, you know, what is expected out of them, you know. But you know what, the most important thing that we actually grateful for as well from as coaches, the energy that the youngsters have put in, the effort that they put in, trying, listening to us as coaches, and also taking some sort of feedback from their seniors as well. So to have the senior team playing against them, and also thereafter they sit together and discuss the game, it's been amazing. So it's actually what we need, you know, and the age group between the two, you know, our senior players and our youngsters is not as much. But I think, you know, right now, I would say Wheelchair Basketball South Africa internationally, we're very happy as we speak, because I look at these youngsters and I look at our senior guys. I mean, if we keep them together for the next 5 to 10 years, hey, South Africa would be a force to be reckoned with.
You're talking about that 5 to 10 years period. I mean, we already missed out on the Paralympics of this year. And I guess in this sense, as we're speaking offline, that if more and more of the South African teams get the opportunity to have these competitive spaces, then we can build them up to be stronger as one of the best sort of African teams, but also being able in future to qualify for the Paralympics. Now we're looking at LA 2028, and it starts like this. It starts with these opportunities.
I mean, there's World Cup coming up, under-23 World Cup coming up. Hence, we actually got this preparation coming. But I think we've got Libya in the next couple of months. We're heading to Libya and trying to actually make sure that these youngsters are exposed as much as possible to the international competition. So yes, we're looking further up, you know, but step by step. We're not going to really put pressure on ourselves and put pressure on these youngsters. We've got to make sure that we get them to the level of thinking, level of play, to the level of performance that we want them to get to. But yes, every single competition coming up, we're definitely going to be going for. We're not going to look or shy away from that. But we're not going to put pressure on the youngsters. You know, we got to make sure that we've got what we need, and I think we feel we've got the quality. It's just a matter of like how do we polish that quality going forward.
Coach Kumbi, you are part of the team that qualified for the Paralympics back in 2012,
London,
and that's the last time that our senior team qualified for that space. What has been the challenge in this period, and why the struggle for the likes of the Shanes that have come in, who on the side I spoke to him and asked him, you know, about the struggles, and you could see from his face that he wants to play at that level, but it's just been this struggle in. From the coach's perspective and somebody that has been into the Paralympic space, the last team, what has been the challenge for South Africa being able to get to that level?
Correct. Look, there's quite a number of things that I can point out to, but bottom line is I think we need to look at ourselves, especially from, you know, the club level and also the provincial level, as to our development structures are they well set up. And if our development structures are well set up, then we should not be complaining. And I feel that there's been some bit of negligence that, or maybe we didn't pay too much attention into those levels. And then having looked at the youngsters that we have now, we have realized as Wheelchair Basketball South Africa saying, hey, we need to go back and make sure that our juniors, they have been given, we focus a lot more on giving more opportunities and make sure that we develop them in a most appropriate way. So we've gone back to that stage and said that let's go back to the grassroots and make sure that we develop our youngsters, we work with the clubs, and then making sure that when they come to this level of, you know, high performance, then they're fully ready. So I feel that's part of it. But yes, infrastructure as well it plays a crucial role. That some of the guys are not having opportunities to get to their venues and all that. But we said that's not an excuse. we also saying, you know what, do some work at home. You know, maybe you may not be able to get the full course like similar to this, but surely there could be some work that you can do at home, like your ball handling, that you do not really necessarily need to have be on court in order to do some work. So pretty much, it's basically around that. So I'm happy that we got to this level, and I'm also happy that now we have realized that, hey, you know what, development is actually very, very crucial for both sectors, be the youngsters, men, and also on our ladies as well.
Coach Phamandla, appreciate your time and wishing you guys all the best with the youngsters.
Thanks, Mami. Thanks, man.
Assistant Coach Phamandla Gumbi, just reflecting on this week, on this 5-day series, of course, that has featured the Kuwait team coming up to play in South Africa against the South African national side, but of course the under-23s. It is the build-up, the first phase of the build-up to the African qualifiers that are going to take place in Cairo in January. It's back to you in studio.
Vuyo Macoba, live to us there from the Mandeville Sports Club here in Johannesburg. Thank you very much for your time.